Top of the stretch. Field of 7, filly and mirrors, lining up. Here they come. They're away in pacing with Lady Dar going right after the lead. Lady Dar to the top. Opens up by 2 on the field. On the outside, Jeevy's Girl. Looking for early position. Lady Berea came away in 3rd. Gap of 2 to Laugh Softly. Racing in 4. Then a break of 3 to Park Lane Fantasy. Your 2 trailers, Yankee Threshold and Mixed Emotion. Midway around the turn, approaching the quarter. Lady Dar, 3 parts of a length. Pressure from Jeevy's Girl. Off that station, 28-1. From the outside, Jeevy's Girl takes command of the pace. And now she settles in for Robbins. Lady Dar racing in 2nd. A length and a half back to Lady Berea and Tony Morgan. Then a gap of 2 to Laugh Softly. A length and a half. Park Lane Fantasy, Yankee Threshold, and Mixed Emotion. Race for the half. Jeevy's Girl on top. A tight length. Ahead of Lady Dar, half-timed in 57-2. Jeevy's Girl leads the way. On the outside, here comes Lady Berea and Morgan. Lady Dar right there in the pocket. On the inside, Park Lane Fantasy saves ground. Moving up on the outside, Laugh Softly, but gapping her cover. And behind her, Yankee Threshold and Mixed Emotion. Top of the stretch. It's Jeevy's Girl on top, a length and a half. Lady Dar racing along the inside, 3/4, 127 even. It's Jeevy's Girl now moving out to a 3-length advantage with 3/16 to go. Jeevy's Girl out there by 4. Here comes Park Lane Fantasy. Lady Dar on the inside. Yankee Threshold now takes over 3rd. A 1/16 of a mile ago. It's Jeevy's Girl in command. Jeevy's Girl well clear for the victory. Here she is. Jeevy's Girl out in front. Park Lane Fantasy and Yankee Threshold in 156-1. Fields off the turn. Picking up speed. Field of 10 lining up. Here they come. They're off. Good start with Diakos. Poco Buckshot, and on the far outside, Night and Flight. All going out for the lead. In between horses, Barefoot Dancer is there. Night and Flight to the top. Barefoot Dancer now comes through. Takes over 2nd. A length ahead of Poco Buckshot. Racing in 3rd. 2 back to Diakos. Racing in 4th. In 5th around the turn, Peter Pumpkinhead. A length and a half back to 10 Below. Then a gap of 5 to Jake B. 2 back to Smoky Rain. MD's Grand Prize and Black Belted off the quarter, 28-4. They straighten up the backstretch. Night and Flight in command of the pace. Leads the way a length and a half. Barefoot Dancer on the outside. Here comes Peter Pumpkinhead. Peter Pumpkinhead with a burst of speed. Quickly up to challenge Night and Flight. Those two hook up. Then a gap of 3 to Barefoot Dancer racing in 3rd. Another gap of 2 to Poco Buckshot racing in 4th. A race for the half. Peter Pumpkinhead, your new leader. Leads the way a length by the half in 59 seconds. Peter Pumpkinhead out there a length. Night and Flight racing on the inside. On the outside, moving up 10 Below. Now sneaking off the rail, Barefoot Dancer. Now Barefoot Dancer back on the rail. On the outside, Smoky Rain gapping his cover. On the inside, Poco Buckshot looks for racing room. MD's Grand Prize. Here comes Diakos, Black Belted, and Jake B. They're in the stretch. Approaching 3/4. It's Peter Pumpkinhead, your leader. 3/4, 130-2. Peter Pumpkinhead leads the way. On the outside, moving up, Smoky Rain. On the inside, Night and Flight looks for racing room. Now Barefoot Dancer finds racing room. He's coming on. And splitting horses, Poco Buckshot. Peter Pumpkinhead under a drive. Here's Night and Flight in between horses. Night in Flight now drawing away in the final yards. Night and Flight out in front. Peter Pumpkinhead close for 3rd. Smoky Rain may have held off the show money in 2 minutes flat. Fields at the top of the stretch and lining up. Here they come. They're away in pacing. Getting off to a slow start was Joppa. On the far outside, Ideal Centurion out quickly, along with Backlash. These two going after the lead, and now Ideal Centurion will take command as they race into the first turn. Opens up by 2 on Backlash. Then a break of 3 to one more Brewski, racing in third. A length behind him is Welfare. Another length to Video Bandit, a length and a half. Get Rich Quick, then comes Scotty Nippon, MC Strikes, and Joppa. Off the quarter, 29-3. Race up the backstretch. Ideal Centurion leads now with a 3-wide move. Video Bandit. Heitman has his hands full. No choice but to go after the lead, and now gets it. Opens up by 2.5 over Ideal Centurion, now by 3. One more Brewski, racing in third. A length back to Backlash. In fourth. In fifth to the half, Welfare. Get Rich Quick, Scotty Nippon. 4 lengths back to MC Strikes and Joppa. By the half, 58-2. Video Bandit out there by 3.5. Ideal Centurion racing second. One more Brewski. In third on the outside, here comes Welfare and Morgan. Followed up closely by Get Rich Quick. Backlash held up on the inside. On the outside, Scotty Nippon, still about 10 to make up with a quarter of a mile to go. Then far back, MC Strikes and Joppa. Now bearing out Get Rich Quick and dropping back sharply. They're in the stretch. Video Bandit still leads. Here comes Ideal Centurion. 3/4, 128-3. Ideal Centurion quickly up to challenge and take command. Video Bandit is dropping back. Here comes one more Brewski. Third now, second. Ideal Centurion leads. One more Brewski is coming on. Final 16th of a mile. It's Ideal Centurion. Ideal Centurion in an upset. One more Brewski. Second best, close for third between Backlash and Scotty Nippon, 158-1. Fields in the stretch. Field of 7 now lining up as they approach the start. Here they come. They're off and pacing. B.L. Rockney in the middle of the track. Left hard for Bobby Williams Jr. on the outside. Here's B66. These two will go after the lead. B66 now takes command and slides over to the rail. Opens up a length. B.L. Rockney racing in behind second. A gap of 3 to No Laughing in third. Mr. PennDOT settles in fourth. A length back to Gypsy Kiss racing in fifth. Pan CC, and your trailer is Nuke. There it is. Off the quarter. 30-2. Race up the backstretch. B66 in command of the pace. Leads by 2. B.L. Rockney in the pocket. Here comes No Laughing and Tony Morgan. Then a break of 4 to Mr. PennDOT and Andy Miller. A length and a half back to Gypsy Kiss. Then a break of 5 to Pan CC, the first-time starter. Your trailer, Nuke, there it is. Midway up the backstretch. From the outside, No Laughing to the top. Makes the lead. Leads the way a length. By the half, B66 will take a back seat. Half-time to minute and a fifth. No Laughing leads the way on the outside. Here comes Mr. PennDOT and Andy Miller. They're moving towards the lead. B66 right there in third on the outside. Nuke, there it is, second over with cover. On the inside, B.L. Rockney. A little bit rough in that turn was Mr. PennDOT. Top of the stretch, No Laughing. Out in front by 2.5. 3/4, 130-2. It's No Laughing, your leader, B66. Bearing down. B.L. Rockney racing in third. Mr. PennDOT coming on again in fourth. Down the stretch. No Laughing leads. B66 lurking on the outside. B.L. Rockney and Mr. PennDOT. No Laughing digs down. Morgan urging him on. Here's B66 in deep stretch. B66 holding on. Here they come. They're away and pacing on the far outside. High Camark and Big Johnson both left well. On the inside, it's Temerity. Battle for the lead. 3 off the rail is High Camark. In between horses, Temerity. And on the inside, Mr. Bojangles comes through. And now Temerity wins the early battle. High Camark. On the outside, racing second, Mr. Bojangles. Racing along the inside, a length and a half back to Big Johnson. Racing in fourth. 2 back to Shamrock Hurricane. A break of 5 to Johnny Ringo. Your 2 trailers are Morning Racer and Sulin Dancer. Off the quarter, 28-3. Temerity out in front by 2. Mr. Bojangles racing in second. 3 lengths back to High Camark, racing in third. A length back to Big Johnson. Now he's off the cones for Heitman. And on the move, Shamrock Hurricane will pick up that live cover. On the outside, it's Johnny Ringo. Third over into the outside flow. On the inside, Sulin Dancer and Morning Racer trails, half-timed in 58-4. Big Johnson now forging his way on by with 3/8 to go. Opens up by 2. Temerity racing in second, Mr. Bojangles. With the leaders in third, Shamrock Hurricane. About 6 to make up as they turn for home. High Camark being pushed back, moving up 3 wide for the drive. Johnny Ringo, they're in the stretch. Big Johnson out in front and driving. 3/4, 128-2. 3/16 to go. They're all in behind Big Johnson. He's on top by 2. Temerity trying to get at him. Here comes Mr. Bojangles. High Camark racing in fourth. Down the stretch. Big Johnson leads. Mr. Bojangles is coming on. Here's Mr. Bojangles. Mr. Bojangles coming on to win it. Big Johnson a game second, close for third in 158-1. Field of 10, fillies and mares off the turn and lining up. Here they come. They're off. LD's LC. Going right after the top and gets it. Fairly easy for McGee. Opens up on the field by 2. Incredible Success came away in second. A length back to Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. Racing third in fourth. As they hit the turn, Land's End. A length in behind her, Lake Hills Mimi. Comes Finale's Finest. Try to Remember. 3 trailers. Broadway Deduction. Restricted Cam. And Lake Hills Mama. Off the quarter, 29 seconds. They race up the backstretch. LD's LC out there a length. On the outside, here comes Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. Incredible Success. Right there in third. 3 lengths back to Land's End. Racing in fourth. In fifth. As they approach the half, Lake Hills Mimi. 2 lengths back to Finale's Finest. Down the outside, Try to Remember is underway and now flushes cover. On the inside, Broadway Deduction. Here comes Restricted Cam and Lake Hills Mama. Off the half, 57-4. 28-4, second quarter, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo leads the way around the far turn. 3 parts of a length on the outside. Moving up, Lake Hills Mimi. Right off her flank. Here comes Try to Remember. On the inside, LD's LC. Incredible Success. And Land's End. They're in the stretch, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. Out in front, 3 parts of a length, 3/4, 128-2. And now on the outside, Lake Hills Mimi has collared her. Lake Hills Mimi rolls out a length. Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo battling to hang on for second. LD's LC racing third. Incredible Success shakes loose. Here she comes. Lands in on the inside. It's Lake Hills Mimi in deep stretch. Lake Hills Mimi needs the line. Lake Hills Mimi, Incredible Success, close for third in 157-2. Field curves off the turn. Now they're in the stretch. 10 fillies lining up. Here they come. They're away and pacing, and timing the gate perfectly was Precious Asset. Coming away well, B Falcon Silent. In between horses, Lady of Mystery is there. Precious Asset, 3 parts of a length, now a length as they race into the first turn. B Falcon Silent comes away in second and behind her. Then a length back to Lady of Mystery. Those 3, 4 lengths ahead of Butterfly Sabra and Proud Heart. Then a gap of 3 to Secret Hiding Place. Fatal Kisses and a big gap to Beachbound Brit, Matadora, and Silence Payoff, your 3 trailers. Opening quarter, a quick 28 seconds. They settle in up the backstretch. Precious Asset on top by 2. B Falcon Silent right in behind her. 4 lengths back to Lady of Mystery. Traveling in third. Then a gap of 4 to the gray filly. Butterfly Sabra, Proud Heart. Racing in fifth to the half. Secret Hiding Place. Fatal Kisses. Then comes Beachbound Brit, and far back both Matadora and Silence Payoff. Half timed in 57 and 3, 29 and 3 second quarter. Precious Asset continues to lead the way. B Falcon Silent right there in the pocket. Lady of Mystery now off the cones for McGee. She's on the attack. Picking up that live cover. Butterfly Sabra poised and ready to strike for Heitman. On the outside, Proud Heart moves up. And on the inside, Fatal Kisses. Secret Hiding Place, still about 9 to make up. They're in the stretch. Precious Asset leads the way, 3 parts of a length. Lady of Mystery trying to get at her. Digging down, will have to do more. 3/4, 128 and 1. Precious Asset out there by 2. B Falcon Silent racing second. Butterfly Sabra racing third. Here comes Proud Heart. Down the stretch, Precious Asset, she's by herself. In the final yards, it's all Precious Asset. Butterfly Sabra second, close for show. 157 flat. Fields at the top of the stretch. Here they come. They're off with Godfrey Daniel and Downstate Dell vying for the top spot. And Downstate Dell will win the early battle. Opens up by 2 on Godfrey Daniel. A length back to Little Mage, racing in third. 2 back to Lake Hills Lou. In fourth, Fly With Me came away in fifth. A length ahead of Sir Chi-Town, racing in sixth. Johnny Sunday, reserved early on in seventh. Strutting on, and Free Society off the quarter, 28 and 4. Curve off the turn and race up the backstretch. Downstate Dell in command of the pace, leads by 3, Godfrey Daniel. In second, a length back to Little Mage. In third, then a gap of 2.5 to Lake Hills Lou on the outside. Sir Chi-Town is on the move and looking for cover. Fly With Me to the inside of him. Second tier now takes form, and Johnny Sunday is second over to the half. Strutting on in Free Society, still strung out by the half, 58 and 1, Downstate Dell. Still leads the way, no pressure. Godfrey Daniel racing in the pocket. Little Mage, 3 lengths off the top in third. On the outside, Sir Chi-Town grounding out a tough first over trip. To the inside of him, Lake Hills Lou. Johnny Sunday set to move up 3 wide. Still about 7 to make up in the final quarter of a mile. They're in the stretch. Downstate Dell leads the way by 3. 3/4, 128 and 4. Downstate Dell now by 2. Here comes Godfrey Daniel from the pocket. Downstate Dell shortening stride. Here's Godfrey Daniel. Sir Chi-Town continues to gain ground. On the outside, Johnny Sunday has to do more. Here comes strutting on. Far outside, Free Society. Your leader, Godfrey Daniel in the final yards. They're coming from everywhere. Godfrey Daniel and Johnny Sunday coming on. Photo. Fields in the stretch. Picking up speed. Here they come. They're off. On the far outside, Bowlmaster leaving hard. In between horses, smashing hit. Coming away along the rail, Best Punch. Bowlmaster and smashing hit, these two go at it early on. As they race into the first turn. And Bowlmaster now clears to lead a length over smashing hit. Best Punch came away in third, a length back to Nice and Feisty. Another length back to Fox Valley Dakota. Comes Noteworthy Bandit. Silver Wolf, a gap of 3. To Dale Heitman and Anxious Sally. And your trailer is 1 for the money. Off the quarter, 28-1. They pace into the 3/8. Bowlmaster on top, 3 parts of a length. Pressure from Best Punch. On the inside, smashing hit. Right in behind those two. Length and a half back to Nice and Feisty, a gap of 2. On the outside, Noteworthy Bandit is underway. To the inside, Fox Valley Dakota. Silver Wolf picks up cover. 1 for the money, still about 7 to make up. Anxious Sally trails by the half, 57-2. 3/8 of a mile ago, Bowlmaster leads the way. Right off his flank, Best Punch. Smashing hit right there in the pocket. On the inside, it's Nice and Feisty. On the outside, moving up, Noteworthy Bandit. Right in behind him, the veteran. Silver Wolf is on the move. They're in the stretch. Bowlmaster starting to get away from this field. He leads by 2.5. Smashing hit. Tries to keep pace in second. 3/4. 127-4. It's Bowlmaster. Smashing hit is coming on again. On the outside, Noteworthy Bandit. Silver Wolf ducks between horses. Here comes 1 for the money. Now smashing hit takes the lead. Here's Noteworthy Bandit on the inside. Silver Wolf finds a lane. Smashing hit and an upset over Silver Wolf. Noteworthy Bandit third in 157-3. Fillies and Mirrors in the stretch. They're lining up for the 10th race and approaching the start. Here they come. They're off. Quick Mischief out in a hurry in the middle of the track. On the inside, coming away, Jules Joe Dwayne. Quick Mischief quickly to the top, leads a length. On the outside, here comes 911A. Jules Joe Dwayne settles in right off that pair. Then a length back to Olivia Franco, racing in 4th. Kiwi Ship is 5th, midway around the turn. Then comes Capio. Gravel, and your trailer is Real Society. Off the quarter, 28-2. Race up the backstretch, and 911A leads the way, but not for long. Here comes Jules Joe Dwayne and Ernie Adam. She's under urging. She's going after the lead, and now forging her way on by to lead length. 911A will take a back seat. Quick Mischief with those two racing in 3rd. Olivia Franco in 4th. Capio facing the breeze and looking for cover. Now the outside, Gravel moves up, 2nd over. Kiwi Ship on the inside, Real Society now off the cones. Half-timed in 58-2. Gray Filly, Jules Joe Dwayne on top by 2. On the outside, and moving up with a rush, Capio. On the inside, racing 3rd, 911A. Gravel. Well placed on the outside, 4th by McGee. On the inside, it's Quick Mischief. Comes Real Society, Kiwi Ship. And Olivia Franco is pushed back to last. They're in the stretch. Jules Joe Dwayne leads the way. 3/4, 129 even. It's Jules Joe Dwayne on top. On the outside, Capio trying to get at her. Here comes Gravel and Dave McGee. Jules Joe Dwayne responding to the pressure. Final 1/8 of a mile. She's out there a length. Gravel's coming on. Here comes Quick Mischief with a late rally. Jules Joe Dwayne under a drive. Here's Gravel in between horses. A late move. Quick Mischief. Gravel in front. Quick Mischief 2nd. Jules Joe Dwayne 3rd in 157-1. Three's top down. 3-5-8. 7-4-1-2-6 on the Top of the stretch, field of 5, lining up as they approach the start. Here they come. They're away and pacing. Off to a slow start was Dynamic Glass, Pipe Creek Cami. In between horses, showing early speed. On the inside, Giggle Girl. On the outside, JB's Risk. It's a battle for the lead between these three. In between horses, Pipe Creek Cami, 3 parts of a length on the inside. Giggle Girl is coming through. Now dropping back off those two, JB's Risk. She tucks in third, Ancient Gypsy. And then a gap of 4 to the trailer, Dynamic Glass. Off the quarter, a quick 27-1. Giggle Girl turns back all challengers. She draws clear. A length and a half. Pipe Creek Cami, used hard early, will settle in second. On the outside, here comes JB's Risk and Hostetler. She's on the move. And then a gap of 3 to Ancient Gypsy. Dynamic Glass is back in it. Only 6 off the lead. And now JB's Risk. To the top for Hostetler. Leads the way a length. By the half, 56-1. JB's Risk on top a length. Giggle Girl right there in the pocket. Pipe Creek Cami racing with the leaders in third. Dynamic Glass, she makes her bid. She's first over, grinding out a tough trip after a slow start. Ancient Gypsy also on the move. They come to the corner. JB's Risk, 3 parts of a length on the outside. It's Dynamic Glass, Giggle Girl right there in third. They're in the stretch. JB's Risk now getting away from this field. She opens up the lead by 2, now by 3. 3/4, 126-4. JB's Risk out there by 4. Dynamic Glass trying to keep pace second after a tough trip. Giggle Girl racing on the inside. Pipe Creek Cami and being outpaced Ancient Gypsy. Down the stretch, JB's Risk leads the way. Dynamic Glass hanging in there. JB's Risk shortening stride. Dynamic Glass and Pipe Creek Cami. JB's Risk wins it. 156-3. Close for second. Dynamic Glass maybe over Pipe Creek Cami third. Top of the stretch. Field's lining up, and here they come. They're off and pacing. Narrows Affair showing the early speed, and Narrows Affair now hooks up with Eva Let's Go. These two under the wire the first time, and now Narrows Affair draws clear length. Eva Let's Go racing in second, Getting Any Bluegrass in third. Duchess Spur up on the rim and driving after the lead. On the inside, Sweet Trip came away in fifth, a length back to Wheezy Wig. Then comes Zuja, Curly Sue, Miss Fussy Smith, and Line for the top. Opening quarter, 28-2. Narrows Affair, now pressure from Eva Let's Go. Eva Let's Go now easing her way on by. She leads the way a length. Narrows Affair will yield in second. Duchess Spur hung outside third. Getting Any Bluegrass racing along the rail. Then a gap of 2 to Sweet Trip. Zuja is on the move for Widger. On the inside, it's Wheezy Wig, Curly Sue, Miss Fussy Smith, and Line for the top. Those three traveling together, about 8 off the lead. Half-timed in 57 seconds. Round the far turn, Eva Let's Go maintains the lead. Duchess Spur, she's covering a lot of ground. Now second. On the inside, Narrows Affair right there in the pocket. Getting Any Bluegrass. Zuja. Far back, Curly Sue and Miss Fussy Smith. Still plenty to make up. They're in the stretch. Eva Let's Go leads the way. 3/4, 127 even. Eva Let's Go leads the way. Duchess Spurs dropping back and now launching a furious late rally. Here comes Miss Fussy Smith. Narrows Affair driving out from the pocket. Miss Fussy Smith on the outside takes the lead. Narrows Affair racing second. Sweet Trip now shakes loose in deep stretch. Miss Fussy Smith strides out. Miss Fussy Smith out in front. Sweet Trip second. Narrows Affair third. And Zuja up for fourth in 157 flat.